Now that we have built up the basics of object-oriented programming, let me connect the dots a little bit and just do a quick recap. So, encapsulation basically helped us keep data and behavior together. So we just created a class and we just throw attributes and bunch of methods, which are the data and actions all in one place. um, which actually allows us to have everything in one place protected. Then abstraction, let us define the general idea. There we go. So we created this class as an abstraction. This is what we think all the customers should have, all these attributes and all these methods. So like I said, abstraction let us define general idea first, and then we'll leave details to specific classes. We just let some classes to implement some of these methods differently, which is why we define these methods as an abstract method. Both these ideas are about better design and reusing the code that we already have instead of rewriting the same thing over and over, which is why we did all this stuff, um, just to be able to reuse the code, which eventually that gives us a better design, which is the goal in object-oriented programming. Now we want to talk about two new concepts, inheritance and polymorphism. You've already seen inheritance in action in regular and premium customers. These two classes did not start from scratch. They actually inherited things from another class. They actually inherited all those attributes and methods and abstract methods from the customer to class. Um, then each one basically supplied its own rules for discount and bonus points. So we had to implement those abstract methods inside these two classes that are basically inheriting from our abstract class. So this is kind of one type of inheritance in action through abstraction. When you actually add an abstract class here to your class, basically you're saying, I want to implement this concept, I want to implement this abstract class, but I'm also inheriting everything that that class offers. Here's another example that grows naturally out of the same idea. Let's suppose we want a new type of customer who is almost exactly like the premium customer, but with one small difference. Let's say we want to create customer classes just for seniors. Seniors should get more bonus points, and that's the only difference between the senior ones and the premium customer ones. So they just get extra bonus point when they purchase something. Do we need to throw away everything that we already have inside the premium customer and start a new class and then copy everything from the premium customer, like, and just make a small changes for the bonus point method because seniors are supposed to get more bonus points? We can do that. But again, the whole idea of object-oriented programming is that we want to reuse the code that we already have. We already have this premium customer and all these methods, right? So is there any way that we can actually reuse these to end up with a better design? The answer is yes. Since senior customers are like a senior customers are specific kind of premium customers, we can actually create a new class called senior customers, and then we can inherit from the premium class. That immediately gives that senior customer class everything that we already had inside the premium customer and everything that we already defined and had access to there, like all the attributes from the customer to all the methods from the customer to um, and all these two implemented customized methods that we also implemented inside the premium customers. As soon as we inherit the premium customer class, now that means we will have access to all of those. Same attributes, same methods, and everything. Then, since we need to add more bonus points for seniors, we can actually overwrite one method that we are inheriting from another class, which in this case is a premium class. Which this idea of being able to override methods from a class that we are inheriting from, it's called polymorphism. So with polymorphism, we can override a single method or more than one method, and we customize the behavior that needs to be done differently inside our new class. And again, in our case, we can actually basically implement and override this method because that's the only method that is going to be a difference between a premium customer and senior customer. All right, kind of think of it like inheriting a car from your parent. The car runs, the engine works, the doors open. You do not rebuild the car when you inherit it. You start using it and everything is fine. But you can simply repaint the car to your taste. Inheritance gives you the car. Polymorphism allows you to customize the car to your taste, which is in this case is going to be repainting the car. You keep the car and the system working, but you just customize small things to your taste. And that's the whole idea of inheritance and polymorphism. So now let me create the new class so you can see how things work. Okay, that's going to be senior customer.py. Okay, so now we want to inherit from the premium customer, which means from premium customer file.py file, we want to import. We only have one class inside that. I can mention it or I can use asterisks here. I'm just going to mention the class. Okay, so senior customer. Okay, boom. I just created a class. How do I inherit now? We've already done that. Like, look at the premium customer. How did we inherit from customer 2? We just add that class right here. So now I want to inherit from premium customer. Boom, I just add that class right there. So soon as I do that, that means now I have access to everything that this class offers. And this class already implements and inherit everything from the customer too, which means I also get everything from customer 2 class here already, since this guy already has them. So two concepts right here. The class that we are inheriting from is called a superclass or parent class. So you hear these terms, don't get confused. So in this case, like the premium customer is the class that we're inheriting from is going to be called a superclass or parent class. So inside the premium customer, now the customer 2 is a parent class and superclass. Same thing here. Since customer 2 was a parent of premium class, we can also call the customer two classes, super class or parent class. So if we call the premium customer super class and parent class, what do we call the senior customer here? We call it a subclass or a child class. This class is called a subclass or a child class. So senior customer is a child of the premium customer, and premium customer is a parent of senior customer in this case. So these terms, subclass, superclass, you're going to hear them a lot in object-oriented programming, but that's the whole idea. That's what's all about. Okay, so right there, we just basically inherited everything from the premium. Now we want to use polymorphism, and we want to overwrite this method from the premium. Sorry if I have a lot of typos. You fix it if you see a typo, you fix it for yourself. Okay, so now we want to basically override this method to just do things a little bit different for senior classes. And the type for this, suggested type for this is supposed to be a float type. Okay, what we want to do, we want to, if the final total is greater than 100, now we want to return more bonus points for seniors, and that's the only reason. Otherwise, that. Okay, that's the only difference between the premium one. With the premium one, we are returning 50 and 20. With the senior one, we're going to return 60 and 30. Can I, well, maybe you're asking, okay, could we also override methods from the customer too? The answer is yes. We can also, since we're inheriting from the premium one, and this guy is inheriting from this one, customer two is our superclass or parent class. So that means we can also override things, methods from that class as well. So I'm just gonna overwrite the str one because when we print a senior object, I just want to show different messages. Look at that. As soon as I say self, now I have access to all the attributes and methods, even from the customer to class, which is nice. This is the idea of object-oriented programming and actual inheritance. So we're all good. Let's just add something extra. Someone might ask, okay, can I define my own attributes here? What if I want to know also the age of these senior customers? The answer is yes. You can actually define specific attributes for this one that only belongs to senior customers. Okay, if we want to add an attribute here, that means we need to define a constructor. Okay, it already did everything. Every time you create a senior customer, that means when the object is created by default, if we don't have this, by default is going to go call the constructor from the premium customer. We don't have a constructor here. So what it does, it runs the constructor that we have inside the customer too. Now we want to initialize a new attributes here. I'm going to call it age. Before doing that, first we need to call the constructor from the super classes or the parent classes. How do we do that? That's how do we do that. That's how we do it. We call the super method. This one, this super thing allows us to have access to all the methods from the super classes. We usually use super to be able to call methods from the super classes. And there we go. I'm also adding the age here so I can use that to initialize my age here. And you know what? I'm just gonna also add that here. Here's old. Okay. All right. So hopefully I don't have any errors or anything. Let me run this. Okay, no errors. Good. Um, all right. So let me just actually create objects from these, the senior and premium, and print the results so you can see the differences. In the past, I created separate files when I wanted to test things. I'm just going to do things differently this time. I'm just going to add a main method here this time so you can see you don't have to create separate files. You can have all these classes in one file, but um, I define them in separate files so you can see that how you can import things and everything. But let's just do things differently. I already have a code for this. Let me just copy that code. All right. So you don't have to wait for me. So what do I do here? I create a premium customer object. I add items to the purchase list of this object. I create a senior one. Oh, now I need to add age here because now this guy gets an extra parameter for its constructor. Look at that. And oh, this one, I'm just gonna say this should be an int value. Um, Okay, I created a senior customer object. I add items to the purchase list of this object, and then I print all the details of the premium, and then I also print the different details of the senior one, so we can see all the differences right there. Okay, so look at that. John Doe is our premium customer. He bought two laptops and a mouse. Um, it got it was the card his card has um, the price of the items that he has is $30 and he got 20 bonus points. Now look what happens for the senior one. First of all, it shows the age when we print the object. It also calculates the bonus points differently. Why? Because we had that method overridden right here, so it runs this one instead of running this method for us. That's polymorphism in action, actually. So we basically are done with all four major concepts in object-oriented programming: encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. With these four, we can reuse the code that we already have and come up with a better design which is more maintainable and usable for big programs.